Tuesday.
Like every day, it's going up. Joining us now from Morris, Oklahoma Senator and member of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, James Lankford. Senator, thank you for joining us today.
Good to see you again. Yes,
of course.
Great to be able to join you.
Yeah, Senator, the president said, buy American during his State of the Union. Biden says, in a tweet, Biden says buy American in his speeches, but when the opportunity comes to buy American, he wants to buy from Iran and Venezuela. Why do you think the president continues to contradict himself?
Yeah, that's something I've actually called out for days now in that simple statement of buy American. He wants to buy American steel, but not buy American oil and gas. The reason is they're very beholden to the environmental left here in the United States. They're really running the White House at this point, and their goal is to reduce energy production in the United States, knowing full well that we have to have that energy from somewhere. But they want to be able to stand up and crow and say the United States has reduced our carbon footprint, even though we're still buying from Venezuela and from Russia and from Iran and from Saudi Arabia. Their focus is we buy it from somewhere else and they can have a bad environmental score. We just want to have a good environmental score in America. It's completely irrational when you're talking about a global issue on this. And if you're going to talk about clean production, no one produces it cleaner than the United States of America. And so it's nonsensical policy, but they are absolutely beholden to the environmental left.
Senator, I want to get your reaction to some breaking news just coming into the newsroom moments ago. We got the CPI inflation numbers just a moment ago. Inflation now at 7.9%, going up from 7.5%. What do you make of that, and how bad it will get in March, given where we are with this energy crisis?
Now, people need to remember that's the inflation index going up before the war that happened in Ukraine.
Right.
So
Invasion Day was February 23rd.
Right.
That was day
right.
one.
They're going to immediately run out and say this is all because of that. It's not. This is the Biden policies. This is what he put into place last March when everyone told him not to dump $2 trillion into a growing economy. When they did that anyway, it causes inflation. Inflation feeds inflation. It's very hard to be able to stop. And the American people are going to continue to be able to suffer from this. Literally half of the nation has never experienced inflation like this in their life. You've got to be somebody that lived through the Carter administration to remember any kind of inflation like this.
So we're back to 1978 right now at 7.9%. I just want to get your reaction to this. So we're looking at, it'll be the Putin inflation hike, like it was the Putin, what does Jen Psaki say, the Putin price hike when it comes to gas. We looked into it. Pre-invasion, gas was up $1.15 between Joe Biden's first day in office, January 20th, and February 23rd, when the invasion began. So this Putin price hike is just fake news, isn't it?
Right. It's just spin. And that's been the thing. They're hoping everyone forgets the last year and how much prices rose all the last year, all the problems that we've had in the last year based on their policies. And most Americans don't know because we don't track the inflation in other countries. Japan has not experienced this. South Korea hasn't. Australia hasn't. The UK, Germany, all these other countries didn't experience inflation like we have. The difference was the Biden policies that he put in place spurred this kind of inflation. Other countries didn't do that.
Yeah, Senator, I think a lot of Americans, they're hoping they won't remember, but we've seen prices go up at the pump since Joe Biden was essentially elected into office. All right, so Russia's warning a Western ban on oil imports could result in prices more than doubling, reaching $300 per barrel, while prompting the closure of the main gas pipeline from Russia to Germany. Who would this affect the most?
Yeah, it would affect Europe the most. Europe is the one that's most dependent on Russian oil and gas. They're heavily dependent on Russian oil. About 38% of the natural gas that they get also comes from Russia. So that's a big deal for Europe. Europe is right now scrambling to try to figure out what they're going to do. Germany's talking about turning their coal-fired power plants back on again. France is now saying that they're going to continue to use their nuclear when they were going to set that aside. Europe has had this problem. Again, they've been very beholden to the environmental left as well. They've tried to figure out how they're going to quickly get to renewables. Renewables are something that's fine to be able to add to our energy mix, but it's decades and decades and decades away from actually being realized. Even when they talk about electric vehicles in Europe or in the United States, we only have 2% of the vehicles on the road are electric vehicles. They're talking about doubling that number in the next 10 years. Well, great, that's 4%, but that's not going to get us there.
So we've
got to produce. Yeah, we've got to produce more oil and gas to be able to get us through this season.
And don't forget, 60% of all electricity in the U.S. comes from fossil fuels. That, according to BP, those are the 2021 numbers. Senator, I just want to get your take on the retirement of one of your mentors, your colleague in the Senate from Oklahoma, James Imhoff, 87 years old. He has been in the Senate for a long, long time, announced his retirement, which means there will be a special election. Your thoughts on what that's going to look like? I know that Alex Gray is a candidate, Rick Grinnell, and Kash Patel tell, just giving Gray their endorsement. What do you make of the race and the career that James Inhofe has had?
Yeah, there's 5 folks that have jumped in on that race already on that. So Luke Holland, Markwayne Mullin, T.W. Shannon. We've got Markwayne Mullin, and then, as you mentioned before, Nathan Dahm, and then Alex Gray. So there's a lot of folks that are jumping in that race. But Jim Inhofe has been in the Senate since 1994, and there's a lot of criticism, I know, from people saying he's been there too long. His seniority in the Armed Services Committee, his chairmanship there, his chairmanship on dealing with infrastructure issues in years before have been very significant to the entire nation and what he's done. So he's had a great run of service to the nation. We're proud of him. He's retiring. He's retiring with honor. Now there'll be a big battle to be able to see who's going to be my colleague next year to be able to serve alongside of me.
Will you be endorsing a candidate, or are you going to stay out of this?
No, I'll stay out of that. This is somebody I'm going to have to work side by side with on it, so I'll let the people of Oklahoma actually make their selections on what they're going to do on that. And I know lots of folks will jump in and do endorsements on it, but with 5 people in the race and maybe a 6th jumping in the race this weekend even, there'll be a lot of heat on it. There's 15 weeks, by the way, until that election, so this is going to be a sprint to be able to get to that selection.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll be watching that race. Senator, I want to quickly pivot, though, to something a lot of Americans are concerned about. U.S. is bracing for cyber attacks, potentially from Russia. Do you think this would drag us into that war?
I don't think it would drag us into the war, depending on what Russia actually targets on it. What we need to do is make sure we're continuing to deal with our defenses. That's something that we have been very engaged in and trying to be able to watch areas of infrastructure. But people forget this is all about doctors' offices and lawyers' offices and entrepreneurs and banks. They're also targeting those private businesses as well as big infrastructure and other things that they're doing. So I encourage people, watch the most basic things right now, especially phishing attacks, changing your passwords, 2-factor authentication, updating your software. That is literally fighting the Russians at this point to be able to make sure you're taking care of your own cyber needs as well.
Senator, I always enjoy having you on. I don't think we get enough of just the common sense approach to what's going on with the political discussion happening in the country. That makes a lot of sense right there, Senator. Thank you.
Glad to help. Take care, y'all. Let's pray for the people of Ukraine.
Thank you, sir.